Hi, I'm Bob Moore. I am a sociologist and virtual world designer currently at Multiverse. Before that I was at Xerox PARC, and I started the Play On project, which is a sociological study of MMOs and virtual worlds.
What excites you about current metaverse technology?
What excites me? One thing that's interesting, I think we'll be seeing a lot more of this year, 2008, is the convergence of virtual worlds with another very interesting social platform, which are social networking sites. We're starting to see it in a few worlds. I think we'll see more of it. The two technologies are similar in a lot of ways and complement each other in that they're both platforms for social interaction. One is synchronous. You take virtual worlds, and they are great platforms for interacting with people in rich ways, but in real time through avatars, through gestures. Whereas on the other hand, you've got social networking sites which are asynchronous, and you leave messages for people. You show them, show photos of yourself. You leave, comments on people's profiles for other people to see. There's a sort of really interesting narcissism and voyeurism that goes with social networking sites, and I think these two technologies really complement each other nicely, because I have friends and relations online, and when we're online at the same time, virtual world is great. When we're online at different times, then it makes a lot of sense to leave comments on profiles and things like that, and so I'm very excited about that.
What concerns you about current metaverse technology?
Well, actually that same convergence also scares me, because there's an interesting difference in the way these two platforms are used, and it's not really a function, well, it kind of is a function of the technology to some point, but it's more the social use, and that is, in a virtual world, up until, well, in the past it's been the case that people tend to play a character. There tends to be an anonymity, that I don't tend to reveal too much about my real world identity, my real world self. Instead, what you know me as a character that I play. Whereas on social networking sites, the trend is to play yourself, to be yourself, and to show, I often use my real name, or maybe it's just a first name. I show real photos of myself, my family, and where I live. And what's interesting about the social networking site is that's the voyeurism, looking into people's real lives. And so when these come together, it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. I mean, one thing I like about virtual worlds is the sort of security that comes from having that anonymity, and what happens when you merge those together. I think in some cases it might not be such a good thing. Although, just to qualify what I said, really in both of those platforms, you have people doing both, playing themselves and playing a character, and it's really they play along a continuum. So you get, even in virtual worlds where you're playing some kind of character, a lot of times people, when they talk, are just in a sense being themselves. They're not playing a role. Social networking sites are supposed to be about yourself, but people often have multiple profiles that show different aspects of themselves. You even have role playing on social networking sites, where somebody will pretend to be a celebrity and they'll role play that. So really you get both kinds of behavior on both platforms. It just seems, if you look at sort of overall, the overall trend on virtual world seems to be somebody else, and social networking sites tends to be more myself.
Cool. What would be the most surprising impact of metaverse technology on society within the next decade?
The one that I'm interested in, seeing how this plays out, has to do not with virtual worlds, but with augmented reality. And I guess let's start with augmented reality. The idea that in face-to-face interaction, that there's a possibility that I can bring up information, at that moment on other people. And how will that fundamentally change face-to-face social interaction? I mean, currently, if you get into the area of self-presentation, I can control to some extent what information I give off about myself to other people, and I can custom fit that to the situation and the people on the scene. If they can bring up a profile on me, or they can Google me, and in that situation find out any information on me, I've lost that control. And what does that mean? I don't know. I think in some situations it's going to be very interesting, because now people aren't going to be judging you just on the way you look in a particular situation. They can bring up all this other stuff that that they would only know otherwise through getting to to know you. They can find that up front. On the other hand, I'm sure there's all kinds of possibilities for being stalked and probably a lot of bad stuff too. But I think that could fundamentally change the nature of face-to-face conversations.
Fourth question, last question. What barriers will metaverse technology never overcome?
Never overcome. That's really hard to say because I'm constantly amazed with technology and with possibilities. I guess, I don't know. I want to say something corny like it'll never replace a face-to-face conversation, but I don't know. Maybe it will. Currently there's not touch and smell and all those sensory inputs, but I would imagine one day we can simulate that too.
Thank you.
Sure.